Good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you're joining us. Welcome to our Inside Monash briefing. My name is James Collins. I'm one of the student recruitment coordinators here for the business school. Before I introduce the students and staff members we've got present here, just a bit of housekeeping from my end. We do have a slight issue with bandwidth on Zoom at the moment, so if you are joining the conference call today, please could you make sure that you turn off your video camera if possible, and also your microphone. We will be able to take questions through the chat box facility. We're hoping that this session will be as interactive as possible. We've got representatives from the student body here, along with our course director for the Bachelor of Business. So we're hoping to answer as many questions you have. But if you could use the chat box, that would be really appreciated. Today's session, we're hoping to complete in about 45 minutes or so. We've got a shortish presentation, but if you do have any questions, as I mentioned, we can tackle those throughout the presentation. Before we get started, I thought it'd be a good opportunity for the students to introduce themselves. So could you maybe, Laura, just introduce yourself, tell us what it is you're studying, what year you're in, but also what it is you want to do once you finish university.
Hi, so I'm Laura. I am studying a Bachelor of Business and a Bachelor of Marketing. So it's a double degree, which means the 4-year course. So I'm in my 3rd year, just about, we just started a couple of weeks ago. So starting 3rd year, so I'll finish at the end of next year. And I'm wanting to go into marketing when I finish my course, and I'm still finding out what area of marketing that is that I want to go into, just because there are so many and there are so many opportunities for me. So I'm just finding out which one I'm interested in the most, and hopefully I'll do some internships over the next couple of years to help me work that out.
Perfect. Naz, could you briefly introduce yourself?
Yep, hi. My full name is Nariman Tarvand. I'm doing a Bachelor of Commerce and Science at the moment, majoring in actuarial science and mathematical statistics. In my 4th and final year, hoping to pursue a career in data science when I finish. And yeah, that's about it.
Thank you very much. So I'm James Collins. I'm one of the student recruitment coordinators here. My role for the rest of the presentation is just to facilitate the questions. So if you do have any questions, as I mentioned, I'll be looking after the chat box. I shall pass over to a man who needs no introduction. Colin, over to you.
I'm not sure why I don't need any introduction, but perhaps not to you, James. I'm an associate professor. Normally I can spell associate. It's funny how you only see the typos when I'm looking at a very big display screen up there. So yes, normally I can spell associate, but yeah, there we go. I'm also the course director of the Bachelor of Business. I personally have a background in industry, originally as an entrepreneur and employee, but I've worked at Monash now for close to 20 years. Which is slightly alarming. I don't know how old you guys are. Don't tell me. Don't tell
20, Colin, 20.
Right, I don't like it anymore. Mind you, the people who are listening are even younger than you, so you're quite old anyway. So let's go. If I can just echo, though, what James said, please do ask questions. It might even be easier for you to ask questions just by hitting the chat box there than. Well, I'm told it's actually quite difficult to stop me talking once I start. Laura is pulling faces at me. She's a marketing student and I'm a marketing professor. So I think she knows, she's had experience of that before. So do ask the questions. James is bigger than me. He can jump in with by relaying any questions as they come through. Makes it much more valuable for you if you ask. Telling you a little bit about Monash, it's in the top 1% of business schools worldwide. That's not just schools here in Victoria, that is business schools worldwide. It's the only Victorian group of 8, that's research intensive university, with triple accreditation. They're those 3 logos down towards the bottom of that screen there. the AACSB, which is the American Association of Business Schools, EQUIS, which is the European Foundation for Management Development, and also the Association of MBAs, which is less relevant to you right now, unless there's any parents listening, in which case have a look. But seriously, what they look at there is the quality of the way in which we manage our teaching. So that is also relevant to you guys. So we're a group of 8 research-intensive university. We're the only one in Victoria that's accredited by all 3 of those global bodies. Our graduates are job ready. I actually do some research into that myself with academics from other universities, and we're pretty happy with what we're finding. Because of the size of Monash, if only because of the size of Monash, our graduates are better connected because there's thousands of you out there. And again, because of the size, there's more flexibility as well. You've got an enormous amount of choice, which may be confusing. It is often confusing for people before they hit Monash. Let me tell you this, obviously we don't like people to be confused, but it's a good thing because it shows that you've got an awful lot of choice. So, as it says there on the slide, we have a huge choice of degrees and majors, and as Laura mentioned, actually, we have work integrated learning, sometimes known as internships. We call it work integrated learning, not just because academics like me love to use 3 words where one would do. Oh, thank you. Naz laughed at that. I don't know who's planning to throw anything at me. No? But because it's actually quite different. There's a lot of dodgy internships out there which aren't properly supervised. We at Monash do it properly. We actually have an entire subsidiary company that sources internships for students if they can't find them themselves. Most students use that service. No charge to students for doing that, but many students have contacts, so don't need to use it. And you're individually supervised by academics. It's a really good thing to do towards the end of your degree. Naz, you've already done a summer placement, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, so I just, over December and January, did a 6-week internship at PwC for actuarial science. So I didn't go through the work integrated learning path, but several of my friends that are in the business school did take that option. Yeah.
And did you source that internship yourself?
Yeah.
You did. That was the cadetship type internships.
It was just a 6-week program. Okay. I didn't use it to get any credit points.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can, if you want to, get credit in your degree for it.
Yeah.
Naz chose not to because he's planning to learn a heck of a lot more in the classroom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But that being said, quite a few of my friends did use it to get 6 or 12 credit points.
Yeah. Yeah. Did it change anything for you?
What do you mean?
The way in which you were thinking, what you expected the professional workplace would be like?
Yes and no. Obviously, some things aren't what you expect, and some things, I guess, meet your expectations. But I think you get a good grasp of where your skills from university lie in terms of being out there in the broader work environment, and just how important it is to kind of focus on what you do in university, because it is useful. It is used. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. We are recording this.
Yeah, go ahead. Use it as you will.
Thanks, Naz. Good to hear. And look, here is just some logos of some of the people that we partner with, some of the firms we partner with. There's your PwC there, Naz, top right. Any of those attract you, Laura?
Yeah, well, I will be doing a work integrated learning placement next summer. So I have a placement lined up with EY, which is also on the board.
Terrific. Yeah.
So I'll be using that towards credit towards my course, which I'm looking forward to.
Laura, could you just explain the process of getting onto those internships? How did you go about it?
Absolutely. So there's 2 ways, like they've already mentioned. So you can, I suppose, use your network, which I've developed through my role on the Monash Marketing Student Society, to find, I suppose, connections and find out about opportunities that are most relevant to me. And also there is the Career Gateway as well as the Work Integrated Learning platform, which has a lot of opportunities that are available to you as well. So in terms of this opportunity, because of my experience in the society, I was able to secure this placement myself. So I've gone ahead and contacted the Work Integrated Learning team to finish the process with my self-source placement. And they, after completing, double checking that it meets the requirements of the unit, I will then be able to start working on my assignments for that unit at the end of the year.
Terrific. And so you found it yourself, ran it past the universities, and they who checked that it was okay, and
Absolutely.
that you're not ending up you're reporting to a family member or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And it needs to be something that's obviously valuable to your course as well. So getting that kind of tick of approval from them was also reassuring that I know myself that I'm going to get a lot out of the placement too.
Which is terrific and really important, and something actually that you said, Laura, I'll pick up on, and that's your work as president of the Marketing Students Society, a job that's changed a little over the last few weeks as these sort of unexpected circumstances have hit. But doing something like that, something that I frequently, well, always recommend to students at orientation, is to do something to differentiate yourself in this huge organisation. And get involved and do something that you love doing. And I mean, Laura, as the elected president of the Marketing Students Society, I mean, I reckon the world's your oyster. Yeah, and EY are lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Just as PwC are lucky to have a whiz like Naz.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep going, because there are more opportunities than just internships at the end of the degree. During your degree, you can do a lot of international study. We live in a globalized world, which until a few weeks ago was a really, really good idea. And of course, it will be a really, really good idea again very, very soon. In fact, by the time the guys we're talking to come to university, it will be an absolutely undoubtedly terrific thing again. You've done an intern. Yes, I know you have, haven't you? You've done some international experiences. Tell us about those.
So last year in July, I was selected for the Monash Global Discovery Program, which is open to all Monash University students. So it isn't just exclusive for business students or commerce students in the business school. And so this program, I was selected as one of 10 students to travel over to New York and meet with Monash alumni who are currently working in New York. So there's actually a Monash staff member who's employed to work in New York full time, and their job is to maintain the relationships and connections with Monash alumni who have gone on and established their careers or even just popped over to New York to work for a couple of years. So that experience was really rewarding, being able to go and visit all of the companies that these alumni are working at. And so we visited Facebook, we visited Spotify, WeWork, the United Nations, and numerous other large companies over in I suppose global companies, and spoke to the alumni and got advice from them, heard their journey, and were really inspired. So hopefully I'll have the opportunity to do a little stint of work over in New York after my studies.
Fantastic. That's really exciting. I'm sorry. I'm doing what I'm possibly not particularly competent at doing, and that is remotely operating the camera. I thought it was an experiment that was worthwhile. Now you can see what I look like. But enough of that, Naz. Tell us about your experience.
Just over February, I spent some time in Canada, more specifically at HEC Montreal, which is a university over there that has a really good research foundation and master's program for artificial intelligence and data science. So I spent about 2 weeks doing classes, tutorials, and doing a few visits to a few of the different artificial intelligence startups and research firms over there. It's really good. Kind of just gave me a context of how the technical skills I've learned from the fields of statistics, computer science, stuff like mathematics, stuff like that, how they make the basis of what artificial intelligence is. But not only that, there were lectures on AI governance, AI ethics, stuff that might not be the focus of some of the courses I've done at university, but if I want to go into that field, or for anyone that wants to go into that field, they're really important topics to think about. And then we got to see how Montreal is kind of becoming an AI hub, and what communities, governments, organizations are doing to kind of support that growth.
I think that's just hugely exciting to be able to do those international experiences as part of your Monash University degree here in suburban Melbourne. You can just barrel off to Montreal,
Absolutely,
which is one of the artificial intelligence hubs in the world,
Mm.
or just go and have a chat, as you do, to people at the United Nations, or Facebook and Spotify. There's senior managers there.
And what I thought I would just jump in and mention is that there is kind of financial support for students who are wanting to do these overseas trips, because when I was in high school, these kind of things seemed like an impossibility. However, there are grants from the university and scholarships and funding support, as well as from the Australian government, which enable students like yourself to take on these opportunities. So it's not just limited to those in a strong financial position. It's for all students, and that's, I think, really great to kind of see and hear.
Yeah, international travel is not cheap, but they, as Laura says, there's a lot of support available, some of it government and some of it via Monash. Talking about when you were at high school, did you guys know what you wanted to study? We'll start with Naz, because I started with, did you know exactly what you wanted to study?
Other way.
Or going the wrong way. I'm a highly trained professional here. Sorry about this. Naz, did you know exactly what you wanted to study when you were in high school?
No, not at all. I actually figured out what I wanted to study about a year and a half ago. So I think that the figuring out process does take some time. So I think over the year of kind of being an ambassador for Monash, one thing that I've said over and over again is don't worry if you don't know what you want to do. And your peers might. Everyone's at different stages. So yeah, I definitely had no idea what I wanted to do in high school, but starting was a good point.
Great, and to me as an academic, that gives me great joy when I hear someone like Naz say, "Well, I figured out what it was I wanted to study while I was here at uni," because it shows that me and my colleagues are actually making a difference, making a difference to you, and we expect you to learn things. Laura, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to be a pediatrician, and then I wanted to be an air traffic controller. So I've gone through a few stages there, realized that I wanted to do business, and initially spoke to someone who convinced me that marketing was going to be a good complement to that. And so I started in the course with my major in management, thinking that marketing would complement that. However, I found my passion in marketing specifically, and I definitely know that now I want a career in marketing. And I've ended up changing my my major to banking and finance. So I definitely have changed my mind a few times in my course, and who knows what degree I'll end up with at the end of next year.
And that's just fantastic from our point of view. We've got a huge department of student services people, professional staff members. When I last looked, there were 37 people employed in that, just in the business school, giving students advice and helping them to choose the area in which they're going to end up graduating in. A considerable proportion of our students change what it is they're studying while they're studying here. When I last looked, it was about a third of our graduates did. Haven't got the most recent figures. The people have been a bit busy the last few weeks, as you can imagine. So let me tell you now a little bit more about the structure of the degrees at Monash. And students, please jump in with to correct me if something seems wrong from your point of view. Sure. This is from my point of view as a provider of this, if you like. So we have three families of degrees that you can see there on the screen. We have business, which is based at Caulfield, business administration, which is based at the Peninsula campus, and commerce, which is based at Clayton. They have slightly different entry requirements, and I'll go into each of those in detail in a moment. And you can specialize in those other areas. There's other 7 areas that are listed there with the white background, if you want to. You don't have to, but Naz, for example, is specializing in actuarial science. Laura is specializing in marketing. There's other and banking and finance, aren't you?
It's a major within the
right.
double. Yeah.
So you're doing it as a major, right? So business administration and commerce. The business degree, Caulfield based. There's some indicative entry numbers there. IB of 29. I understand the IB is being cancelled this year. I think I heard just today, but the indicative ATAR anyway is 82, low 80s. 10 majors there, comprehensive selection of majors based at the Caulfield campus, 15 minutes from the city by public transport. Any year 12 maths, a pass in any year 12 maths will get you in. Business administration is based at the Peninsula campus. There are 5 majors there. The ATAR and IB requirements there are a little lower. It's a smaller campus. It reflects supply and demand, I guess. It's a strongly interdisciplinary degree. Any maths, again, will get you in there. And the commerce degree has a higher ATAR there, 90 or a little bit higher. 10 majors based at the Clayton campus, which was the first campus of Monash University. And you need a higher level maths to get in there. It's no coincidence that Naz, doing his actuarial studies as well as a science degree together, is studying at the Clayton campus doing the Bachelor of Commerce, while Laura here is doing her marketing here at Caulfield. So here's some examples of majors there in business. There's much more information about each of those online on the web. Of course, James and his colleagues can help you if you like. We don't need for me to recite what each of those are there now, I don't think.
Colin, we have had a question come through from one of our students, actually directed to the students here.
All right.
I guess you've partially answered some of this, but what was the main reason why you chose business, Laura? Was it the flexibility? Was it?
Yeah, so there were a number of reasons why I chose business. I really like the Caulfield campus. I came from a smaller school, and I really like personally just the Caulfield community feel. So I would suggest, obviously, coming along to open days or something like that later in the year, and just getting a feel for the campus yourself and feeling whether that's feeling what you feel most comfortable in. And because of that small campus feel, you often bump into people you know, which I really like as well, and you become kind of really close with those also on the campus. Whereas I know a lot of my friends at Clayton do really like the fact that it's really big. So it's just whatever your personal preference is. Also, the marketing degrees are slightly different at Caulfield and at Clayton. So marketing at Caulfield is less maths and data based and more, I suppose, creative based potentially, whereas marketing at Clayton is actually called marketing science. So it's a lot more of the insights and data behind the marketing decisions that are made. So I am more of a people person, more of a creative person. So I found myself drawn towards the business degree because I see myself as someone else kind of pulling that data together, and then I want to be the person that acts and makes a decision based on that data and comes up with the strategy going forward. So I suppose that kind of was the difference for me.
Yeah. What about you, Naz? What was the reason why you chose business?
Well, definitely goes back to what Laura said about how you feel on campus. You're going to be spending a lot of time there, so you might as well like it. But I actually came from a science background, all the maths in high school, chemistry, physics, all that. And this goes back to the question of did you know what you wanted to do? And the answer is absolutely not. I chose to go into a commerce degree, or the double degree, purely just out of interest, and then fell in love with it. And then halfway through decided to specialize in actuarial. So it was hey, I love this university. And then just by being there, I got lucky and fell in love with it, and yeah, decided to continue on.
And I presume with Monash offering double degrees, not all universities offer double degrees. It is kind of quite unique in that sense. A lot of people think double degrees are double the amount of time, but with it being an additional year, it is quite unique from what I gather. Yeah. And
our students and our graduates and our employers love the double degree because it gives it well, we produce graduates who know not just the actuarial, but they understand something of the science as well, or in your case, the pure maths behind it. Seriously tough stuff. And Laura will know about banking as well as marketing and as well as HR, and it's a large and complex world out there. The double degree is I think a very, very big bonus for our employers and our graduates. So thank you for the question, whoever asked it. Do we have a name?
I would be worried to pronounce this name. Aura, maybe?
Aura?
Yeah, Aura. We're going to keep to Aura. So thank you for that question, Aura, and keep sending them through.
Yeah,
if you like.
More questions, please. So there you have some majors in business and some specialist courses, again, in business. There's a list there of the particular, so you can get a degree in, a Bachelor of Marketing or of Banking and Finance. Those again those are part of the Caulfield suite of offerings. So the Bachelor of Business. So any Year 12 maths will get you into one of those specialist courses there, Caulfield. And we also are currently running our international business degree out of a site in the city for the time being.
Colin, I think a few students might have the question as what's the difference between doing a specialist degree and just doing a Bachelor of Business with a major in one of those areas. I don't know if you were going to touch on this later, but I thought I'd just jump in and say, because obviously if you want to study marketing, you could do a Bachelor of Business with a major in marketing, or you could do a Bachelor of Marketing. And so the difference is that in the major, a major consists of 8 subjects, or 8 units we call them, whereas a specialist degree consists of 12 specific marketing units. So because I knew I was passionate about marketing and wanted to learn more about that, I thought, why not do extra study in the marketing specialization? So I get to do an extra 4 marketing units instead of, say, 4 elective units. And also the units in the marketing specialist, and the same applies for the other specializations, are more specifically tailored to give you a really well-rounded approach. So in my course, I do units such as marketing law, which isn't something that I would necessarily pick for myself because I'm not a student that's particularly interested in law. However, this kind of adds to the well-roundedness of my degree and will give me a nice foundation along with the other core requirements moving forward when I'm in the workforce.
Thanks, Laura. That's a very nice approach to it. When I'm asked that question at an open day with hundreds of people about, I give a short answer, which is perhaps not as helpful as yours. I say to students and to their parents, don't worry so much about the label of the degree that you're getting, as long as you're studying what it is you're interested in. So make sure that what it is you study, what you're interested in. As Naz said, he got lucky, but he got lucky because he kept his eyes and ears open, and he was looking around and listening for what was available, and found something that he enjoyed even more than he thought he was going to.
Yep.
So then when you decide you want to change, then you go to those lovely people in student service and say, this is what I want to do. And they will then tell you what particular degree options and what label, what actually appears on that lovely big degree certificate at the end of your course.
And the best thing about the business and commerce degrees is that they do have core units. So at the start of my degree, I did 7 core units, which were all of the different majors offered at Caulfield. So I had the chance to actually try all of them out. And so if at the end of that year I decided that I didn't like marketing anymore and I really wanted to do accounting, I could change into that degree and start in accounting, and not be behind in my degree at all. I'd still be able to finish my degree on time, or as planned initially. And so that's a real big benefit of it as well. So you can try it, and then so you choose a degree that you think you might be interested in. You can do all the core units and then make that decision once you've kind of had actual hands-on experience doing all of them, and decide which area you really want to specialize in or do a major in.
Laura, is marketing, studying marketing at university different to the marketing you studied at school? Did you study any marketing at school?
No, marketing isn't really touched on much at school. I did business management, which some of you might be studying or at the moment or in the future, but marketing isn't kind of focused on there. So it was a little bit of a question mark around that as to what it actually was, and we get a lot of questions at open day about what is actually marketing. I like to say marketing's like everything.
I'd agree with you as a marketing.
Absolutely. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I asked that question. None of these questions have been rehearsed, but I wasn't expecting to ask that question either. It just came to me. I was pretty confident that you'd answer, so thank you. That's exactly what I was expecting. Yeah, if you've touched on marketing in your business management, it's quite different at university, and students often love it. Oh, have we got another question, James? James is waving at me.
Yeah, we've got a couple more questions. I am conscious of time, so we've got another 10-15 minutes. If you do have any questions, please keep sending them through. To begin with, Colin, we do get a lot of students who ask us the difference between commerce and business. Can you try and explain to those who are listening in today's presentation the difference between commerce and business?
Okay, being conscious of the time, the input is perhaps more important almost than the output. It's the maths entry requirements that are the indicator. We ask for higher maths for the commerce degree because it tends to be more mathematical. That's where, in fact, if you look at the current slide, that's actuarial studies, economics, finance are more mathematical in terms of high-level maths, say international business or marketing. So those 3 at the bottom there are the commerce specialist courses. The ones up the top are the business specialist courses. So Naz had to have a higher level of maths to get in to do his actuarial studies course. Laura didn't need the higher level maths. We just needed to be satisfied that you could do some. So because we choose students, we select students in that way, and we select them for a reason. And as Laura says, even the marketing that is taught in the Bachelor of Commerce degree at Clayton is more mathematical. It's more data driven and less of the creative. So that's a really good question. Thank you for asking it, because we might not have covered it.
And just one final question, Colin. Can a student do a major outside of business? So, for example, media and communications, music, art, that type of option.
I think that might even be coming up on the next slide if I know the slide set. So I'll keep going. But yes, absolutely, you can do a major or double degree outside the business school, and it's very much encouraged too. I'll ask you to remind me. It was music and media and communications.
Media and communications. Yeah.
So it's not quite so internal within the business school. The Bachelor of Business you can double with degrees in those 4 up there, and the Bachelor of Commerce you can do double degrees with the 3 listed there on the lower side, and that is simply geographically, well, it's geographically based as well. The Bachelor of Commerce is Clayton. That's the higher maths requirement. Bachelor of Business is at Caulfield, and you don't need quite as much in the way of mathematical methods, if you like. I mean, accounting is obviously a very mathematical type of profession, but it doesn't need the higher level. If you are to do a double degree, whether it's inside the business school or outside, this is what your course map would look like. You've got 4 columns there. Each row is 1 semester. You do 4 units per semester, 2 semesters a year. The core units that Laura was talking about are the introduction, the first year units. You do 1 for each of the 7 discipline areas in the business school. Many students change once they have had a taster of what that first unit is. The second degree units on the right-hand half there, they essentially mirror what happens in your first degree here. So you'll see there's actually only 4 units in your double degree. Even NAS doesn't mind, I think, me saying 2 3-year degrees equals 4.
I mean, sure. I'll nod and smile.
That's a good link as well to another question. I'm asked, what is the difference between a double major, effectively, and a double degree? So is anybody able to help with answering that question?
Your majors, I guess, are in a broader term of what you're practicing. So, for example, I'm doing commerce and science, but your degrees are a broader term for that. But then your majors are more specifically what your kind of focus of study is within them. So in the commerce side, my major is in actuarial science, but I have friends doing majors in business analytics or econometrics or finance or anything like that. And then in science, my major is mathematics. So it's just to be able to differentiate the specific field that you're focusing on in your studies.
I think it's really important as well to add that a double major is effectively 1 degree, but a double degree, you're getting 2 independent qualifications. So certainly if you were an employer looking at one student with a Bachelor of Business degree, but you also had a student with a Bachelor of Marketing and Business, it's often the case that employers would look more favourably on students who have done double degrees. Of course, the option is always up to the students, but it's a great way to distinguish yourself from other people in a job setting, for sure.
So if you look at the course map up there, you'll see that there's 7 core units in bright orange, the 7 grey units in a major, and then the black unit in the final semester there called the Capstone Unit, which draws everything together. That can be an internship, it can be a classroom unit, it can be an international study tour. And in the previous semester of year 4, there you see you can have elective or indeed an extra unit from your major. A double major can be constructed, if you want to, by studying some units that count double. Just as with the double degree, the elective units from 1 degree count as the major units for another. This is complicated stuff, really hard, I think, to explain without a face to explain it to. I can see how puzzled you're looking on the other side of that screen there. Have a look at the documentation that's up there on the website. Come to an open day. But also, remember, I'm not just being a superficial marketer that I'm not going to be, by saying construct the degree based on what it is you want to do, rather than what it actually says it is, whether it's a double major or a double degree. If you're willing and able to put in 4 years, then a double degree is a terrific thing to do, because you do actually get those 2 degrees for an investment of just 1 more year.
And just touching on that as well, I feel like if I was finishing my degree at the end of the year, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do all the things that I've wanted to do. So, for example, this summer I did a international study program with the marketing department, and we went to Dubai, Mumbai, Paris, Prague, and Milan, and we learned about cross-culture marketing and marketing across borders. And next summer, I'm planning on doing the internship at EY, which I mentioned previously. However, if I was doing a 3-year degree, I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do both of those things, or I would have had to do an internship at a different part of the year or something like that. Whereas doing a 4-year degree has actually given me more flexibility to be able to do all of these amazing things and make the most of all of the opportunities at Monash, because there's so many. So, yeah.
And Laura, just before you finish there, could you just explain to Tom, who's asked a question, how many hours would I expect to be on campus? Now, both of you are doing double. Of course, now we're in unprecedented times, but let's say last semester.
So single degree students and double degree students both spend the same, they do the same number of units. It's just that double degree students have the extra year on the end, but the contact hours and the study load during the year is exactly the same. So I would typically do probably about 12 contact hours in the Bachelor of Business or business related degrees on campus, and then obviously pre-recorded videos and online questions and all of those extra things at home as well.
So it's a full-time job. I should emphasize into my orientation week spiel. It's a full-time job. It's just that you're here on campus for perhaps a quarter of the time.
Yeah. That's probably about right.
I just want to add a something to that. So as you said, if you're doing a commerce degree, it is usually around 12 contact hours a week. But if anyone out there is thinking of doing a double degree with a degree from a different faculty, that might change your contact hours. So for example, I've got 20 contact hours a week this semester, just because I've got other units from the science side. So it varies, but yeah, usually for commerce, it's around 12.
Yeah, so, but those extra hours are because of lab work in science.
Yeah, usually science units either have longer hours for lab work or applied classes of things of that nature. Yeah,
and that's very unusual in the business school.
Yeah.
So you don't have any more hours per week if you do a single or a double degree. NAS would have more hours anyway, even if it was doing a single degree in
absolutely.
science.
Yeah.
So there's a comprehensive look at a single degree on the slide there. I'm conscious of time here. I don't want people to be falling asleep at the other end, although I see the number of people watching is actually going up, not down, which is encouraging. So there you see the core units are all done in the first year, majors and electives. You see there's many more electives in the comprehensive course map, and this comes back to answer the question from, I don't think you gave the name, but so someone who was looking at a double major. You can do a major in media and communication. You can do that most easily together with the Bachelor of Business, because media and communication is taught here at Caulfield. Music is taught at Clayton, and although we do have students doing music and business, most of the people in the business school who do music as well as business studies do it together with the Bachelor of Commerce, unless they're particularly interested in the creative side. I'm looking at Laura.
Well, one of jumping on, because I know this is quite relevant to and specific to the questions, one of my best friends studies a Bachelor of Business and a Bachelor of Arts, and in arts they do music as their major. So they're on Caulfield campus for business and they're on Clayton campus for arts, and they simply use the shuttle bus to get between the two, or they have days where they come to Caulfield campus and days where they go to Clayton campus. So although some students might do the commerce with arts, you can still do the business with arts as well.
Yes, indeed. That shuttle bus is really helpful. Wi-Fi enabled. I refer to it as my 50. But I share it with a lot of students most of the time. There you are. I put in a dad joke just at the end, just when you thought you were going to get away with that one. Conscious of time now, the pathways, if something goes awry for you at the final step at VCE, if you just miss on the maths, there are ways to get in. It's not a disaster. If not, you can either do internal elective units, or that is to say units within Monash, or do some maths before you get to Monash and then come in. If you just miss on the ATAR, then come and talk to us at a change of preference day in December. But there's a whole heap there of ways in which you can get into the degree that you want. It's not a death sentence, let me tell you. And if you're mature age, there are mature age pathways as well. Getting into university is not as hard as it used to be, and a no is never final. If this is really what you want to do, there will be a way to do it.
And we are also encouraging all domestic students to apply for Cs and Monash guarantee as well. It's always good to tick that box, just in case you do miss the ATAR by a few points. That can help increase your ATAR score. Laura, Naz, did either of you apply for Monash guarantee or Cs?
Yeah, I went for Cs.
Okay.
And that helped.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good news. Yeah. So I think that's really advice for students, irrespective of what university they're going to. Most universities will offer that facility, so it would be worth ticking that box. Yeah.
And in fact, we've actually just done a major statistical exercise looking at students who've benefited from C or Monash guarantee, and seeing how well they do by the time they finish. And you won't be surprised to hear that across the board, they tend to do slightly not as well in their first semester. By the time they finish, by the time they graduate, they're indistinguishable from students who've got in without, and in many cases, of course, actually doing better for motivation and other reasons. So there's no shame and there's no harm in gaining access to Monash through an alternative pathway. Well, that's pretty well it, and we're almost to time. We're 1 minute over, I think. 2 minutes over. Are there any final questions?
We do. Yeah,
Hooray.
we've got another question from Tom, directed towards Laura this time. Laura, can you tell us a little bit more about the marketing? It's certainly something I stress when I'm talking to students overseas, not just focusing on your academic studies, but to also develop your soft skills. So joining clubs, joining societies. You said that you were president, is that right?
Yes.
I'll just jump in first, and say it's absolutely terrific when students do get involved with those societies. You can see them grow. Yeah, you really can, growing in confidence, in self-esteem, and in employability. Laura, explain.
Yeah, so I am president of the Monash Marketing Student Society, which is a role I've been in since October last year. So it's honestly, joining the Marketing Society has been one of the best things I've done at Monash, and another reason why I chose Monash was actually because it has a specific Monash Marketing Student Society, whereas no other university in Victoria has this dedicated marketing society. So we've been running since 71, so a very long time, and we provide social and professional opportunities to students, not just marketing students, but all students. So there's kind of a few ways that you can get involved. So we have our events. So as a student of Monash, you can come along to any of the events run by any society. So we have social events such as balls, which are kind of like school formals, but more fun. We have party nights. I don't know how much fun I can say. We have mystery buses and all of those fun activities for students. And we also have professional events. So we have networking nights, seminars, industry opportunities for students as well. So you can attend events as a student. You can also become a member, which gives you exclusive opportunities and the ability to kind of access our alumni network as well, because obviously we've been going since 71, and so we ourselves have a network of alumni from the MSS, and then you also have the opportunity to join the committee itself and actually play a role in running the events and delivering that value to the students. So that's what I did in my first year. I attended a few of their events and then decided that that was something I really wanted to get involved with. So I joined the committee and I started as a coordinator. And then last year I was the professional director and organised the networking events. And then just recently took on the president role.
Congratulations, Laura.
Yeah.
There was a follow-up question from Tom just saying, do any other study areas have an equivalent? Now, from what I gather, there are lots of different societies which students can choose from.
Absolutely.
Clubs. Are you part of anything, Naz, or are you aware of anything within your kind of area of actuary science?
Yeah, so there's a actuarial society called Monash Actuarial Student Society, but there's a society for everything from academic to social to religious, to just everything. Well, whatever interest you do have, there's one for gaming. There's anything you could possibly think of. There's hundreds of societies. So whatever interest you do have, you'll be able to find other people that you can share that in common with, and be able to kind of enjoy that with other people.
It's the joy of, I think, of being such a big place. There's so many hugely energetic students that we sometimes have trouble keeping up with them, catching up. There's a bunch of banking and finance students who last year started to set up their own communications network. They're producing something like an online newsletter that's as good as anything you pay the professional media organizations for, if not better, because they're actually supervised by academics. So they make very few mistakes, let me tell you. Laura, so 49 years old, so 50 years next year. So if a student joins next year, it'll be the 50th anniversary.
Yeah, we're really
and there'll probably
excited.
be spare budget for activities left over from this year too.
Would you like to contribute, Colin?
Right, okay. This is what happens when you teach people marketing. Can we change the subject, please?
Well, I've got no more questions my end, but it would be a good time really to thank Laura, thank Naz, and also Colin for your contribution today. It's great for students not just to hear the academic side of a university, but also from a student's perspective. For those of you who are still on the call as well, I have put my email address down in the chat box. So if you do have any questions, or if you wanted to arrange a tour of the Caulfield or the Clayton campus, or just to get some more one-on-one advice with myself or one of my colleagues, we should be able to do that for you. Was it one more question? Yeah.
There may be another couple of questions. I
think we've got one last question.
Okay, great. Don't forget to see up on the screen there's an email address. Don't forget the hyphens in there, BizEco student recruitment, with the hyphens separating it at Monash, or look at the usual socials there, Twitter, Facebook, Insta.
Sounds good. One final question then from Cindy. Are there any opportunities to connect with potential graduate employers or services to help students become good candidates for graduate jobs?
Yeah.
My word there are. Laura says so too.
Yeah.
Can I go in first?
Yeah,
the camera's on me because I'm controlling the camera. My word there are. The internships are set up specifically for that. Many students end up never leaving their internship. They do an internship and the employer, which is like a week's long worth of job interview. They like the employer likes them. They end up staying. Sometimes they even study part-time and work full-time. Other times the employer can afford to be patient and waits for the student to finish. Laura?
Yeah, so I was just going to say there are so many opportunities, as I mentioned, in the Monash Marketing Student Society. So we hold networking events along all the other societies do as well. And so at our last event, we had 60 representatives from over 25 companies within the industry, which provided students with an opportunity to network. There's also a lot of employers that do come on campus and speak to students about the opportunities that they have. And I know there's a few webinars that I've signed up for in the next coming weeks, as at the moment it's a real peak recruitment period for internships and graduate programs. And then there's other services like Career Connect, which I actually work casually at as well. So there's job opportunities for you while you're at the uni while you're studying as well. But Career Connect provides assistance with I suppose finessing your resume, cover letter, interview skills, and they run workshops on those things as well, so that you can put your best foot forward when applying for those jobs and finding out more about them.
Colin, one final question. I promise you this is the last one. We've only got 1 minute left. Could you just explain to the students who are online what is a capstone unit? I understand not all universities provide capstone units, so what makes our capstone units unique?
Thank you. A capstone unit. What a great way to finish the webinar. A capstone unit is a unit in right at the end of the degree that ties together all your learning and puts it together in a professionally relevant way. So you've majored in actuarial or marketing or banking and finance or accounting. How does that fit with your future employer and your future workmates? So it's an employability skills development unit, and it's a broadening unit that helps to put the specialist knowledge that you've gained from this top quality university, as I said right at the start, and you're putting that specialist knowledge into an industry relevant context so you can deliver value to your future employers. Thanks for that question.
All right, well, I think we can probably wrap up at this stage. So thanks again, Laura, Naz, Colin, for your time this evening. Hopefully the audience have got as much out of today's session as we can. As I mentioned, please get in contact with me on my email address via the chat box if you do have anything specific you'd like to know, or you'd like to visit either the Clayton or the Caulfield campus, and I can arrange that for you. Once again, thank you very much, and we look forward to welcoming you to Monash shortly.
Thank you. Thank you for listening. Bye.